MPSC State Services Main Examination, Paper GS3, HRD HR Syllabus. Listen in spare time. Part 1, Human Resource Development. Point 1.1, Human Resource Development in India. Present dimensions of population in India. Quantitative aspects, that is size, growth, growth rate, age, sex, rural and urban population, birth rate, mortality rate. Qualitative aspects, that is education, healthcare, human development index, population policy, population explosions, population projection up to 2050, importance and need of human resource planning in modern society, components and factors involved in planning of human resources, nature, types and problems of unemployment in India, trends in unemployment in India, demand estimate of skilled manpower in different sectors and areas, government's policy and scheme to reduce unemployment, institutions engaged in development of human resource and field of education, that is UGC, AICTE, NCTE, RUSA, IITs, NCVT, IMC, NCERT, NIEA, IIT, IIM. Point number 1.2, Education. Education as a tool of HR development and social change. Education, that is pre-primary to higher education system in India. Problems and issues, that is universalization of education, vocationalization of education, quality improvement, dropout rate, etc. Education for girls, socially and economically underprivileged classes, handicapped, minorities, talent search, etc. Government policies, schemes and programs for education, government and voluntary agencies involved in promoting, regulating, and monitoring formal, non-formal, and adult education. E-learning, impact of globalization and privatization on Indian education, National Knowledge Commission, National Commission for Higher Education and Research, IITs, IIMs, NITs, Right to Education 2009, NEP 2019 as updated. Point number 1.3, Vocational Education. As a tool of HR development, vocational technical education, present status, systems and training in India, particularly in Maharashtra. Government policies, schemes and programs, problems, issues and efforts to overcome them. Institutes involved in promoting, regulating, accrediting vocational and technical education. NSTC, that is National Skill Development Corporation. National Skill Development Program, strategies in penetrating vocational education in rural areas, industry institute partnership, that is internships and apprenticeship, sector-wise employment opportunities, setting up one's own entrepreneurial unit, introducing vocational education at an early age, that is after primary education, age group 14 plus. Vocational education in service sector, that is hospitality, hospitals, paramedics, etc. Vocational education for women empowerment, government programs related to vocational education as updated. Vocational education, National Policy for Education 2019, that is NEP 2019. Point number 1.4, Health. World Health Organization, that is WHO objectives, structure, function and programs, health policy of India, various schemes and program, healthcare system in India, vital statistics of health in India, problems and issues related to healthcare, that is malnutrition, maternal mortality ratio, etc. Janani Bal Suraksha Yojana, National Rural Health Mission, Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana, that is PMSSY. Point number 1.5, Rural Development. Empowerment of Panchayat Raj system, role of Gram Panchayat in rural development, land reforms and development, schemes and programs of agriculture and farmer welfare, role of cooperative institutes in rural development, financial institutes involved in rural development, that is self-help group, we call it as SHG, microfinance, rural employment schemes, rural water supply program and sanitization program, infrastructure development, for example, energy, transportation, housing and communication in rural area, National Rural Employment Guarantee Schemes, that is NREGS, Mission Antyodaya, Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. That is the end of part 1. Now part 2. Part 2, human right. Point number 2.1, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that is UDHR 1948. International Human Rights Standards, its reflection in the Indian Constitution, mechanism to enforce and protect human rights in India, human rights movement in India, problems related to human rights deprivations such as poverty, illiteracy, unemployment, social, cultural, religious practices, violence, corruption, terrorism, exploitation of labor, custodial crimes, etc. Need for training and practice of human rights and human dignity in democratic setup. Globalization and its impact on different sections of Indian society. Human Development Index, infant mortality rate, sex ratio. Point number 2.2, child development, problem and issues, that is infant mortality, malnutrition, child labor, children education, etc. Government policies, welfare schemes and programs, role of international agencies, voluntary organizations, NGOs, community resources. Child Labor Act, that is Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act, Protection of Child from Sexual Offence Act, Integrated Child Development Services, that is ICDS. Point number 2.3, Women Development, problems and issues of women, that is gender inequality, violence against women, sex ratio, female infanticide, female feticide, etc. Government policy, schemes and programs for women development, welfare and empowerment, role of international agencies, voluntary organizations and community resources, accredited social health activities, that is ASHA. Point number 2.4, youth development, problems and issues, that is unemployment, unrest, drug addiction, etc. Government policy, development schemes and program, role of international agencies, voluntary organization and community resources, national policy on skill development and entrepreneurship, national youth policy. Point number 2.5, tribal development, problems and issues, that is malnutrition, integration and development, etc. Tribal welfare, government policy, welfare schemes and programs, role of international agencies, voluntary organizations and community resources, Forest Rights Act. 2.6, development for socially deprived classes, problems and issues, that is inequality in opportunity, etc. Government policy, welfare schemes and development programs, role of international agencies, voluntary organizations and resource mobilization and community participation. Point number 2.7, welfare for aged people, problems and issues, government policy, welfare schemes and programs, role of international agencies, voluntary organizations and community participation for their development, utilization of their services in development activities. Point number 2.8, labor welfare, problems and issues, that is working conditions, wages, health and problems related to organized and unorganized sectors, government policy, welfare schemes and programs, role of international agencies, community and voluntary organizations. Point number 2.9, welfare of disabled persons, problems and issues, that is inequality in educational and employment opportunities, etc. Government policy, welfare schemes and programs, role of international agencies, voluntary organizations in employment and rehabilitation. To point number 2.10, people's rehabilitations. People affected by development projects and natural calamities. Strategy and programs, legal provisions, consideration of different aspects like economic, cultural, social, psychological, etc. Point number 2.11, international and regional organizations, United Nations and its specialized agencies, UNCTAD, UNDP, ICJ, ILO, UNICEF, UNESCO, UNCHR, UNHRC, APEC, ASEAN, OPEC, OAU, SAARC, NAM, Commonwealth of Nations, European Union, SAFTA, NAFTA, BRICS, RCEP. Point number 2.12, Consumer Protection Act 2019. Definitions, objects, salient features of the existing act, rights of consumers, consumer disputes and redressal machinery, different kinds of forums, jurisdictions, powers, functions, procedures and appeals. Point number 2.13, values, ethics and norms. Fostering of social norms, socialization, values and ethics through formal and informal agencies such as family, religion, education, media, etc. That is the end of syllabus of HRD. Thank you.